Hi, this is Abby with Happy Little Mystic, and welcome back to your free self-paced tarot course. Today's lesson will be all about card number 14, Temperance. And if you missed any of the first few lessons in the tarot deck, I will put the link for the playlist in the description box below. And if you're following along in our tarot workbook, if you open up to the Major Arcana section, you will find a place to write down all the information needed to fully understand Temperance. So the first thing we'll notice when we look at the imagery of the Temperance card is that we have this angel here in the center of our card. This angel is depicted as either Archangel Michael or in some cases, Archangel Gabriel. The angel is representing this divine guidance, purity, and the spiritual balance. I like how the angel here is genderless. So this is representing unity and the balance of masculine and feminine energies. We'll notice a white robe here. And on the center of the white robe, we have a square with a triangle. So the triangle is representing spirit, and then the square that it's within is representing the material world. And this is showing the soul grounded in physical reality. The red wings of the angel is also doing that. So red in tarot is that color of power and drive and energy, vitality, this life force. So the wings are suggesting that this is a heavenly being, an angel, but the red is giving it that active presence in the material world. So the red wings are suggesting that this temperance isn't passive. It's an active, conscious balancing. It's reminding us the wings are the spiritual insight, and the red color is our human drive to create that harmony in real life. We'll notice that our archangel here has 1 foot on land and 1 in water. So this is a symbol of balancing the conscious land and the subconscious, which is the water, or the material and the emotional realms. We'll also see here that the archangel is pouring liquid between 2 cups. And this is often interpreted as alchemy, which is mixing opposing forces, water to wine, spiritual to physical. So the way that Archangel Michael is flowing this liquid between cups, is pouring this liquid, seems almost impossible with the angle that he has here. And this is on purpose. This is to show us the blending of this intangible or mystical forces, this divine timing and patience and faith that's needed to pour this liquid without it falling. We have iris flowers growing just next to our angel here. And this is associated with the goddess Iris, a messenger between gods and humans. It's reinforcing the card's theme of spiritual communication and harmony. In the background here, we have mountains and a path. So the path leads from the water to the distant mountains and this glowing crown in the sky. And this is symbolizing spiritual ascent, enlightenment, and the journey toward a higher state of being. This is symbolizing hope, renewal, or this divine presence at the end of the path. We'll notice the calm demeanor of this archangel here. This is emphasizing peace, patience, and gentle moderation. We'll also notice this solar symbol here in the center of our archangel's forehead, right at the 3rd eye. This is symbolizing life force, consciousness, vitality, and the divine self. So it's tying temperance to this solar energy, this radiant, balanced, and life-giving energy. So the dot in the center here of this circle, that's the inner self or divine essence. And then the circle is the whole or the universe. So this can represent the connection between the individual and the divine. Its placement on the forehead is also suggesting that it is activating the 3rd eye. So spiritual awareness, clairvoyance, or the ability to see that higher with higher perception, is suggesting the importance of conscious alignment with higher wisdom, especially when navigating change or seeking harmony. So some of the core themes reflected in this imagery here are balance, with our water pouring between cups and not spilling. It's this emotional water element, the spiritual and the physical. We have alchemy, this transformation through the blending of opposites. Harmony between extremes. So we can see this in the peaceful stance of the angel, and then this steady flow of water. And then finally, we have that divine guidance here. It's through the presence of our angel and the glowing path toward enlightenment. If you're following along in our workbook, we'll move over to the Zodiac sign section. And Temperance is associated with the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is ruled by the planet of Jupiter. So Jupiter is a planet of wisdom, expansion, and higher knowledge. Sagittarius is all about seeking truth and meaning, and that's what Temperance is showing us here, representing the blending of opposites. Sagittarius is also represented by the centaur archer, and it's aiming for a higher target. So there's this journey toward enlightenment that we see here in this card, very similar to Sagittarius's symbol. So just like the past in the background of Temperance here, that leads to the glowing crown or enlightenment. Both are reflecting a spiritual quest and this inner alchemy. So Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it learns this moderation through integrating its impulse fire with wisdom. If you're asking a yes or no question in a reading and the Temperance card shows up, the answer is yes, or not yet, but eventually. So it's more of a neutral, balanced response. Temperance is all about balance, patience, moderation, and this divine timing. So if you ask a question, the answer could be yes if you stay balanced and patient. It could also be yes, but only with moderation and compromise. Quite often, Temperance could mean wait. Things are still blending or aligning. And if Temperance shows up with a yes or no question, it could say no if you're rushing, forcing, or acting impulsively. Temperance is advising you to trust in the process. So if you're asking, should I, it would be telling you only if you're acting from a place of inner balance and patience. That's how you can get your answer. The key words for Temperance in the upright position would be balance, moderation, patience, harmony, healing or blending, divine timing, and alchemy. So the general meaning, if the Temperance card shows up in a reading, it's telling you that you need balance, moderation, or harmony in your life. So it's encouraging you to blend these different elements and find a middle path. Practice patience as the things around you align in divine timing. So you want to avoid extremes in behaviors, emotions, or decisions if the Temperance card shows up. Be patient. What you desire is coming, but it's unfolding at the right time. It's asking us to blend energies. So combine our talents, ideas, or people in a way that supports mutual growth. It's also asking us to find that inner harmony and align our mind, body, and spirit. It could be telling us that healing is happening right now, whether that's physical, emotional, or spiritual. So in other words, if the Temperance card shows up, now is a time to stay calm, stay centered, especially during conflict or change. You may be integrating lessons or merging opposite aspects of yourself in your life. And it could be a signal that cooperation or compromise is needed. If the Temperance card shows up in a career or finance reading, it could be asking you to find this work-life balance. So you may need to learn to manage stress, time, and energy effectively. It could be pinpointing cooperation and teamwork. Maybe you're blending talents or working harmoniously with others. It's a reminder that patience leads to progress. So things may not happen quickly, but you're on the right path. Temperance showing up in a career or finance reading could be telling us that success comes from moderation, planning, and adaptability. So a couple of examples with the Temperance card in a career reading: blending a day job with a side hustle successfully. Maybe you're taking a diplomatic approach in a conflict at work, or perhaps you need to take the slow and steady road to growth in a career path or business. When Temperance shows up in a love or romance reading and you're in a relationship, it could be signaling that there's harmony and mutual understanding. So you and your partner are learning to compromise and blend your differences. It could also be a sign that emotional regulation and respectful communication are key. Perhaps you're healing past wounds or conflicts. There may be a spiritual connection, so the relationship may have this divine or soul-guided purpose. And if the Temperance card shows up in a love or romance reading, you're being reminded to nurture the connection at a natural pace. So Temperance shows two people finding this rhythm that works for them. They're not rushing, they're not resisting. If you're single and the Temperance card shows up in a love or romance reading, it's telling you that there's this divine timing in love. The right person may be coming, but patience is needed. It could also be signaling that you may be healing or finding emotional balance before attracting a healthy relationship. It could also be signaling that you're blending energies. So a future partner may be quite different from you, but the union will feel aligned. It's also a reminder, if the Temperance card shows up, to be open to love, but only when you're grounded and emotionally ready. Moving on to the numerology section in our workbook, the Temperance card is card number 14. And 14 is a karmic number, so it's often associated with change, adaptability, and learning balance through experience. So bringing back to this balance here. It's blending the independence of 1, the number 1, with the stability-seeking nature of the number 4. And that's suggesting a process of aligning action with structure. In numerology, when we add 1 and 4, it reduces to the number 5. And 5 represents change and growth, freedom and flexibility, life lessons through contrast, and movement and evolution. So Temperance is about balancing opposites here. And 5 is a number of this dynamic tension. So the card teaches us to find peace in the midst of change. It's demonstrating here how to integrate new experiences without losing our center. So Temperance is often the calm in the storm, the mature, higher expression of the 5 vibration. And the spiritual lesson here that we learn with Temperance and the number 14 is finding harmony through conscious adjustment and inner alchemy. If the Temperance card shows up in reverse and you're choosing to read reversals, it's signaling imbalance, impatience, or disharmony. So that could be either within yourself, your relationships, or your environment. It's a sign that things are out of flow and need realignment. So upside down like this water that they so carefully were pouring and balancing back and forth would actually spill and would show that things are not in alignment. So some key words that go along with Temperance in reverse are imbalance. And again, that's either emotions, thoughts, behaviors, or lifestyle. Impatience. Maybe you're forcing outcomes instead of trusting timing. Temperance in reverse could indicate conflict or tension, a lack of moderation, perhaps an avoidance of healing. Temperance in reverse could be showing you this resistance to inner guidance or divine timing. Maybe you're over controlling a situation or you have lack of control. So nothing's in harmony. And Temperance in reverse could also be indicating this internal conflict. So whether it's head versus heart or desire versus what you have to do. If Temperance shows up in reverse, it really is a spiritual wake-up call. So something is out of alignment, whether it's your routine, mindset, relationships, or energy flow. It's asking you what needs to be rebalanced, released, or reconnected. So some advice, if the Temperance card does show up in reverse, is to reflect on the following questions. Ask yourself, am I rushing something that needs patience or grace? Where am I living in extremes rather than in balance? What am I avoiding? What am I avoiding integrating or healing? And finally, am I trusting the process or am I trying to control it all? So this Temperance in reverse is really calling us out and asking us to pause for a moment and take note of where we may be out of control, out of harmony. And moving on to the connections to other cards section, we will notice that Temperance does connect to several of the other Major Arcana cards in our deck. A few that we've already covered are the Fool. And if we remember back to the Fool's journey in lesson number 1, the Fool's representing beginnings, spontaneity, and the faith in the journey, while Temperance shows the mature, balanced path after experience. So Temperance is tempering the Fool's impulsiveness with this patience and moderation. Temperance is teaching how to navigate the journey wisely. Temperance is also connected to our Justice card. And Justice is all about fairness, truth, and cause and effect, whereas Temperance is about harmony and blending the emotional and spiritual counterpart. So both cards are seeking this balance. We have our scales here in the Justice card and our balance here between the cups. Justice is seeking that balance in the external world, and Temperance is seeking it internally or spiritually. Temperance is also related to the Hierophant, and the Hierophant symbolizes tradition, spiritual teaching, and structure. Temperance takes those teachings and integrates them through personal experience and moderation. So Temperance is the living application of the Hierophant's wisdom, balancing tradition with that personal growth. We then have the Hanged Man. The Hangman is representing that surrender, pause, and perspective shift. Then Temperance comes in following with the integration and balance action after this period of suspension. So after surrendering to change in the Hanged Man, Temperance guides how to blend insights into harmony. And we'll notice just after the Hanged Man, we had our Death card. So death is about endings and transformation after that surrender and perspective shift from the Hanged Man. Then Temperance comes in and shows the rebirth and the harmonious blending of the new self. So Temperance is the alchemy of transformation, and it creates that wholeness after the upheaval of death. And we'll see here that we have the sun present in the back here, rising is still present in the back here at the end of this path. So Temperance is finding the balance before the enlightened path. So card number 12, we have the Hanged Man, and we'll notice that the sun or glowing aura is around his head, symbolizing wisdom that he's gaining from surrendering and taking this pause and finding a new perspective. Then the very next card is Death, and that's showing us that this sun here that was around his head for wisdom is now in the background, and in the foreground we have the shedding of the skin. The death, the leaving behind of things that no longer serve us. But that glowing wisdom is still right there on the horizon. And then the next card after Death is Temperance. And that glowing sun is still here. But before we go down this enlightened path, we are pausing here again to blend and alchemize the energies that we stirred up with letting go of what no longer serves us. We're now taking that new energy and blending it together, alchemizing it for greater wisdom before getting to that sun in the back here at the end of this enlightened path. So a couple things I wanted to note in the personal insights and reflection section. I have listed here that balance is a practice and not a destination. So Temperance is reminding us that balance isn't about perfection. It's about this ongoing adjustment and blending different parts of our life, emotions, and choices patiently. I also noted in Temperance that we have this inner alchemy. So just as the angel pours liquid between cups, this card is inviting us to transform and integrate opposing energies. So like action and rest, or logic and intuition. There's also this patience with timing. I noted that true growth often unfolds slowly. We can't rush this. So Temperance is encouraging us to trust in divine timing of our path rather than rushing the outcomes. Archangel Michael is also one of my favorite archangels to work with, and he's a reminder to me that we're always divinely protected. We're supported by higher wisdom. I've also listed a couple of reflection questions or prompts. So if you feel like journaling after pulling the Temperance card, you could ask yourself, where in my life am I currently experiencing imbalance or extremes? How can I bring more patience and moderation into my daily routines or decisions? If you want to use the Temperance card to do some shadow work, you may ask yourself, how do I respond when things feel out of control or rushed? And where might I be resisting healing or growth by pushing too hard or holding on too tightly? And finally, my favorite prompt is, what does divine timing mean to me? And how can I trust it more fully? So now I'd like to take a look at how the Rider-Waite-Smith depiction of Temperance compares to some of the other tarot decks that I have. The first one we'll talk about is the Wild Reflections tarot deck. And I love how they depicted Temperance in this card. So we have our guardian angel here, who looks like any other person we may meet. We know they're an angel with their wings, so they're divinely led and guided, protected. There are no cups here with liquid, but I like how the energy points on the hands here are spreading this light, passing it back and forth, similar to the water in the cups flowing. We have the light from palm to palm flowing. This depiction here of the storm on one side and the sunlight on the other also shows that balance. It depicts the idea of the Temperance card, alchemizing the energies, working with both the dark and light forces, blending them together to create this harmony. It's very nice. In our next deck, I have the Angel Tarot cards by Radley Valentine. And in this deck, he has Temperance, card number 14, known as Balance. So very straightforward. He has balance depicted as Archangel Zadkiel in this, rather than Archangel Michael or Gabriel. So that shows you that the different angels can show up in different ways. And Archangel Zadkiel is actually known for forgiveness, freedom, and spiritual transformation. They're connected to the chakra of the crown or the third eye, which goes along with our Archangel in the Temperance card here. And then their ruling planet is Jupiter. So that goes along with our Temperance zodiac sign as well. At the bottom here, it says the need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise, and wait for perfect timing. If we look closely, we'll see that they did keep the cups flowing, the water back and forth here. Beautiful angel wings coming off of Archangel Zadkiel. The irises here, so we have our iris flower in yellow back here. It looks as though they're here as a blue or violet purplish color, which goes along with Archangel Zadkiel's color. We'll notice their mountains are still in the background. And although we can't see a clear path, there looks as though there would be an enlightened path to the sun in the background there as well. I like the balance that they made here, similar to our other deck. And then our last deck here is also from Radley Valentine. It's the Guardian Angels Messages Tarot. And in this deck, he depicts card number 14 again as balance. We have compromise, self-control, and moderation. In this Guardian Angel, I love how she has the two cups and she's balancing this rainbow. She's pouring a rainbow between each one of them. They also kept the angel's feet. We have one on land and one in the water, showing the balance between material and spiritual realms, emotional and physical. And although we don't have the enlightened path here with the crown sun in the background in the mountains, we do see obviously a sunny day here, very clear blue skies, beautiful horizon, her calm expression here, divine happiness. Very nice. Okay, so this is what I have for Temperance today. And in our next lesson, we'll be learning all about card number 15, the Devil. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.